continue, we have to understand, why are we going back to the old days? Why are we going spiritually to the old days? And this is what Prophet Jeremiah said in chapter 6, verse 16. God Almighty said to his people, "Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths and where the best road is. Walk on it and you will live in peace." So we have reached the crossroads. We have already seen that there is something wrong with our spiritual issues. Now, this is why now, as we have hit the stumbling block, God says, in that crossroad, look for the ancient paths. He says, God Almighty said to his people, stand at the crossroads. In fact, he says plural, crossroads. And look. Ask for the ancient paths, the old ways, and where the best road is. Walk on it and you will live in peace. So that's why that is our own prophet Jeremiah in the Old Testament, chapter 6, verse 14. Verse 16. But now he is not the only elder or the only person who have asked us to go back to our ancient ways. I would like also to read for you, and I will also put it in your screen, our beloved founding father, the first president of the Republic of Kenya, and who was a Pan-Africanism leader, and they helped in the freedom of Africa. And in this book, he wrote, I will put it in the screen for you. He wrote, to Muigai and Wambui, those are his son, the former president Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and to Wambui, another daughter of his. To Muigai and Wambui, and all the dispossessed youth of Africa, all those youth of Africa that feel something has been snatched from them, for the perpetration of communion with the ancestral spirits, for the continual communion with the ancestral spirits through the fight for the African freedom, through the fight of the African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to rebuild and the destroyed shrines. He says that is in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will all unite to rebuild the destroyed shrines. These destroyed shrines is where we used to worship. And he is calling upon the freedom of Africa. We have a political freedom, but spiritually we are still locked in. And this is the freedom he was asking for. As he left and as he departed, this is the words he left for his son, his daughter, and all the children and all the youths of Africa, that we shall unite with them who are gone and with the ones that have not been born, to revive the destroyed shrines. Now, he was calling on us to free ourselves spiritually, and that is what we have to do. These are the words that I'm also going to display for you in the on the screen. You can hold your video and then you will read it. Now, because Jeremiah have told us, and another non-elder who has been the first president of the Republic of Kenya, and he was the founding father then, and he was also in the Pan-Africanism, fighting for the freedom of Africa. Let us then dig and see how are we also related to Abraham. We are flying the flag that we are children of Abraham by already having the sign of circumcision, for already having taken the oath that covenant, we are members and we have agreed. But we are disobeying those words, and that is why we can land in a lot of problems. Africa has to be set free. It has to be set free spiritually, because they did not plan for them to be where they are right now. When the colonial governments came to rule us and they took our land, they found us worshiping God Almighty. In fact, as the people were so holy, the people had a lot of humanity, a lot of respect to God, and they did no wrong. And there were no churches, there were no other issues, but they just knew God, and they worshipped him and they adored him directly. They never went through another name. No, they went directly, and God answered them. Even most of the independent African countries, it is those elders that worshipped in those very lands. They worshipped that God Almighty directly according to their own tradition, and God answered their prayer and gave them independence. You see, and that is the land where you are. It is the food of that soil that you are eating. And at that time, you have the sign of that covenant on your body. Are we going to be okay when we break the words of that covenant? When even our forefathers, our elders, when they were fighting for freedom, they were crying to that very God. So let us quickly go to the children of Shem. I will read so that we can quickly understand this. This is in Genesis 10, verse 21. 3 children out of Noah, the fathers of all the people in the world. It is these 3. That is Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Although they associate us with Ham, we want to find ourselves in this line of Shem, because we have found we are already having the sign of circumcision as the children of Abraham. And we know Abraham came from Shem. So we want to see, do we see our names there, or the names of our places, so that we can know, we can confirm more that we are children of Abraham and that we are Shemites. We are the descendants of Shem. So Shem, the elder brother of Japheth, was the ancestor of all the Hebrews. All Hebrews in the whole world, they are children of Shem, correct? And Hebrews are people from many countries, very many tribes, very many languages, very many countries, correct? Shem's sons were Elam, Shur, Afek, Shad, Lud, and Aram. Those were 5 sons. Now, and when we looked at Elam, Elam is an old name for the people of Shur. And then we find Shur as a second-born, as another child of Shem. So Elam and Shem are very related, such that in the Bible, when they say Shur, they are actually talking of Elam. And Ashur is also another son. So these 2 names are very connected. So and the Shur people are in Sudan and a little bit part of Kenya. But Shur is associated with Sudan, South Sudan, or sections like that. And then there is Afek, Shad. Afek, I said, is the firstborn of Shem. And this Afek is the name of the continent of Africa. are fake. And then Chad, a country which is within Africa, and it is more or less in the central part of Africa. Then there is Lud, and you hear this is more of an African name, Lud. Then there is Aram, and in the Bible it says on the small notes that they write below the Bible, they said that Aram, it was a new name for the people called Syria. But Alam is a son of Shem. So where you find Syria, they are talking of Aram. I will also display that writing, but it is in Swahili, that Alam and Syria are one people. Okay? But when we read the Bible, we are told that Abraham was an Aram. And yet, this Aram he had children too. So, Aram, okay, that is 23. The descendants of Aram were the people of Uz. Uz is connected to Job, the faithful person. Okay, Hul is connected to our East African places, like we have Huri Hills, and Huri was also an elder who used to help Moses. But you can hear it is our name. Then there is Gedher. Gedher is also connected with a culture in East Africa whereby their staple food is called Gedheri, and the other last was Meshach. Okay, so as we go on to verse 24 and onwards, Apheksad was the father of Shelah, who was the father of Eber. Eber had two sons. One was named Peleg. The people of the world were divided, and the other was Joktan. Now, I would like to look at the name Peleg. Perego in Kikuyu is divide. Hey, Korena Ferego. Oh, there is a lot of confusion. There is people have divided. Ando mara ferega shanire. That is that Ferego is divide and confusion. Then this is the son of Eber. Who Eber is the son of Shelah. Okay, we will discuss that more. But when we look at further on, the son of Eber, who is Perego, I will mention him in my own vernacular, and also try and find out if these names are from your culture, you Africa. These are your people, okay? Ferego and Joktan were the sons of Eber. Eber, find out, let us know, okay? And then the descendants of Joktan we are in verse 26, were the people of Almodad, Shelef, Hazmaveth, Jera, that sounds a little or more of East Africa, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, this is African, Obal, Abimael, Sheba is in East Africa, in Ethiopia. Ophir, Havila is more or less in the origin of mankind, and that is in Africa. And Jobab. All of them were descendants from Joktan. The land in which they lived extended from Masha to Sephar in the eastern hill country. These are the descendants of Shem, living in their different tribes and countries, each group speaking its own language. So the Hebrews are people of different tribes, many countries, and each group speaking its own Hebrew language. So, and that is the issue. Now, if we want to, we can look further at the children who are the children of Shem. Aram is one of them. And Aram, we understand that Abraham was an Aram. So can we now go further and look whether we can understand this language of Aram? Just like we said, in the wall, the handwriting on the wall during Daniel's time was written Mene, Teke, Ferevi, Pasin. And that is an East African language, which means Mene, rejected. Teke is when you hit something by your leg because that thing is useless. Like pa, okay? Teke, and that is also a Swahili word. And then Ferevi, because we don't have a Z. As the Kikuyus don't have a Z. Where there is a Z, we put TH. Ferevi is quick, Pasin. And that is exactly what the message was going to Belshazzar, the son of King Nebuchadnezzar, who had left his. We can also look further and see a little bit so that we can understand. This Aram is our own language.